Thank you. Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. My name is Martin Hyde. At the last commission meeting, our city manager chastised the commission with his reminder that he has a fiduciary duty to counsel the commission to balance the budget in Sarasota. If he's so concerned about his fiduciary duty, perhaps he'd care to explain to the Commission the $138,000 in legal fees, the $150,000 in back pension, and close to $100,000 in back pay caused by pursuing a petty point on a wrongful dismissal case, which he lost last week. Of course, his loss, like all losses, wasn't out of his pocket. It was out of city taxpayers' pockets. On the subject of fiduciary duty, I asked for information about the example of restraint that he was showing personally in respect of his own salary and that of his management team. Our city manager just got a raise from $202,000 annually to $208,000, plus benefits. His deputy went up from $168,000 to $173,000, and the assistant city manager went up from $153,000 to $158,000. The annual cost for 3 now to do what until recently was done by 2 managers is $539,000. The irony is that the commissioners agreeing these rates make less than 15% of what the city manager makes in salary. Amongst other raises, the Van Wezel manager got a raise to $160,000. The director of planning now gets $154,000, and our neighborhoods manager gets $150,000. In addition, we have another 8 employees making in excess of $117,000 plus benefits annually. The raises we handed out exceeded the government-produced rate of inflation, which is 2.2%, at a time when, per the fiduciary duty comment of our city manager, we just wrote a budget that is in deficit. The cost of the raises was $1.1 million at 3% to taxpayers and would have been $293,000 less if the rate had been limited to the rate of inflation. This approximately $300,000 overspend is coincidentally very close to the sum that the city manager wants to recoup from downtown shoppers through parking meters. I submit that giving inflation-busting raises whilst adding layers of management whilst running a deficit is the very opposite of displaying a fiduciary duty. In conclusion, to quote a term my father often used, I suggest that the city manager wouldn't know the difference between a fiduciary duty and a bacon sandwich, and shouldn't use such terms in the future if he isn't prepared to walk the walk of fiscal responsibility himself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Delpeche.
Good afternoon. My name is Melinda Delpeche. I am president of the Tahiti Park Neighborhood Association. I am here today to request that the City Commission